Okay, Brenda, go for it.
Thank you, Brittany. So I'll be sharing my screen. I actually have a PowerPoint presentation. All right. So my name is Brenda Gamboa. I am the Student Success Financial Aid Counselor here at Cal State Fullerton. And this presentation is going to explain how you can fund your education here at Cal State Fullerton. So just an overview, what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be discussing what the Office of Financial Aid does, how to apply for financial aid, the major changes for the 24-25 FAFSA and CADA application, the types of financial aid there are, and then additional resources. And at the end, you can ask any questions that you may have. So first and foremost, who are we? We are partners in funding your education here at Cal State Fullerton. So you, the student, as well as your parents and family, can assist you with some funding, as well as you have financial aid. So what we do here in the Office of Financial Aid is we answer questions, we provide guidance and assistance with completing the aid application. We determine the student's aid eligibility. We evaluate exceptional circumstances. We package financial aid funds. We coordinate your financial aid, as in federal, state, institutional, scholarships, and student loans. So I will begin to explain the process of financial aid. So first and foremost, you have to make sure you apply. There are two applications out there. There is the FAFSA application and then the California Dream Act application. Okay, so then the next question you may ask is, which one do you apply? Because you can only apply for one, not both. So for the FAFSA application, you have to have a valid Social Security number. You have to be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or eligible non-citizen. For the CADA application, the students who do not meet the criteria for FAFSA, as in not having a valid social or U.S. citizen, eligible non-citizen, or permanent residence, they have to have the AB 540 status, meaning that those conditions in order for you to apply is needed. So the difference between the FAFSA and California Dream Act application is a type of aid. So when it comes to FAFSA, you'll be eligible to receive funding from federal, state, and institutional programs versus the California Dream Act. You'll only be eligible to receive funding from the California state and California institutional aid programs. So for the 24-25 FAFSA and CADA application, technically, it should be available as of now. The typical date is October 2nd, but because the Department of Education has made some big changes, the application will be open sometime in December. We don't have that final date just yet, but for sure, the application will be available by January. So another big thing that I want to address is, you may have seen in the previous slide that the deadline was March 2nd, but because of these changes, they've actually extended that date to April 2nd. So again, that's only going to be applicable for the 24-25 FAFSA and CDA application. Keep in mind that this is something that you do every year. So for the 24-25 CADA and FAFSA, because they're undergoing some changes, this year the FAFSA and CADA will be again available in December, December 2023. We still have we're still waiting on that date. Again, the deadline will be April 2nd, and the FAFSA simplification will also change the process to apply for aid. Once you log into your FAFSA and CADA application, for most families, the process will be easier and faster. Some students may see an increase in their financial aid eligibility. So the key changes to the FAFSA, the 24-25 FAFSA, is that all students and contributors must create a studentaid.gov account to complete the FAFSA online. Okay, so users will be presented with the following questions in the account creation process, which is the personal information, which includes your name, date of birth, social security number, account information, so a username and password, contact information, communication preferences, and then challenge questions. So the challenge questions are there to determine if you get locked out of your account, then you'll be answered to answer these challenge questions to log into your account. Users will continue to set up a multi-factor authentication. Identity match with Social Security Administration will be completed when the Social Security number is provided. Users without a Social Security number will complete a knowledge-based identity verification process. This is more to come. The Department of Education has not released what this means just yet. So this will affect undocumented parents and undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens or permanent residents. So every required contributor must have an FSA ID to sign in the FAFSA application. Every contributor must consent to transfer federal tax information from the IRS to the FAFSA. If a student or contributor refuses to give consent, the student will not be considered for federal student aid, and without that data, they cannot be considered for state or institutional financial aid. So you may ask what a contributor is. Contributor is a new term that's being introduced for this 24-25 FAFSA. A contributor is the student spouse, a biological adopted parent, and the parent's spouse as a step parent. A contributor isn't grandparents, foster parents, legal guardians, brothers or sisters, and or aunts or uncles, even if they help provide for or raise the student. So here comes the steps of how the contributor will open up their FSA ID. So the contributor receives an email informing them that they've been identified as a contributor. The step 2, the contributor creates a studentaid.gov account, even if they don't already have one. Contributor logs into the account using their FSA ID, so their username and password. A contributor reviews information about completing their section of the FAFSA. And then lastly, the contributor provides the required information on the student's FAFSA form. Something to notate is being a contributor does not implicate financial responsibility. However, if a required contributor refuses to provide their information, it will result in an incomplete FAFSA. All contributors must have their own individual email account, so you cannot be sharing emails. A big question that we do get is dependency status. What makes a student independent or dependent? So in order for a student to be independent, they have to be born before January 1st, 2001. The student has to be married and not separated. The student must be a graduate or professional student, a veteran, a member of the armed forces, an orphan, a ward of the court, someone with legal dependents other than a spouse, someone who's unaccompanied and homeless or self-supporting and at risk of being homeless. Students that cannot answer yes to any of the above are considered dependent and must submit parental information. So that's very important. So there may be some questions regarding parents who may be divorced. The parent that contributes most of the student's living expenses is the parent that will provide their information to the student's FAFSA. If the parents' contributions are equal, then the parent with the higher income must complete the FAFSA. The other divorced parents' income will not be reported, nor will they be counted in the household size. The FAFSA will provide clear instructions on which parents should be providing income and household information and who should be reported as in the household. So once the FAFSA and CADA application is completed, the data, including the calculated SAI, will be sent to the schools listed on the application. And just a reminder, you can add up to 10 schools. Some schools will send estimated offer letters to applicants. Others wait until admissions decisions that are made. Most schools notify students of the awards via email, so please be on the lookout. Most schools are anticipating to provide financial aid offer letters before the May 1st admission decision deadline. Check your selected school's website for updates. Submit any requested documents to ensure accurate and correct awards. So I'll be going over what type of financial aid is available out there. So in your financial aid package, you may see grants, loans, and federal work study. So all these are components of your financial aid package, or could be. So the grants are free money. This is money that you don't have to pay back. That includes federal Pell Grants, the Federal Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, also known as FSEOG. Then we have the California State Grants, which includes Cal Grant and Chafee Grant. And then we have the CSU institutional grants, such as the State University Grant and EOP. When it comes to scholarships, again, it's free money, money that you don't have to pay back. Scholarships can include in athletics, academics, leadership, theater, and or music. It's usually competitive. It's institutional, national, state, local, or civic. When it comes to the federal work study, is money that you do earn. It's based on demonstrated need. Students must find a work study job. There's many on campus. The student must work 10 to 20 hours per week, and it's paid directly to the student. And the pay is at least the minimum wage, never below. Now, when it comes to loans, this type of aid you do have to pay back. You as a student are offered two types of loans, subsidized and unsubsidized loans. The subsidized is the loan that there's no interest accruing while you're in school because the government pays off that interest for you. When it comes to the unsubsidized loan, there is interest accruing at all times. So there's no break there, okay? So as an incoming freshman, the maximum amount of loans is $5,500 for the academic year, which is 9 months. But out of the $5,500, $3,500 is offered in the subsidized loan, which is again the one that does not accrue interest. And the remaining $2,000 comes from the unsubsidized loan, okay? So you can either choose to borrow both or just one. Currently, the interest rate for loans borrowed for 23-24 is 5.5%, and it is fixed. So once we get closer for 24 or 25, we'll know what those interest rates are going to be, and we'll be able to share that as well. Now, if you are a dependent student, your parent can take out a loan for you, for the student. And that loan is called the Parent Plus loan. So the parents, again, they will complete this online. Their credit will be ran. Based on that, they'll either get approved or denied. If they are approved, then the parents can take out this loan for their students. If it's denied, potentially you can get a cosigner for you for the parent to get approved. And lastly, there are also private loans. So private loans are different. That means that you and the student can branch out, you, the parent, the student can branch out to lending companies and see what they can offer. Because private loans are based on credit, and then based on your credit, they'll give you a fixed or variable interest rate. Now, how there's a calculation for financial aid offers. So you have your cost of attendance minus the student aid index, the SAI, minus other financial aid equals your need. So these are abbreviations that we use, and we're going to be going over what cost of attendance is. That's probably a main question that you have. So when it comes to cost of attendance, it's an estimated budget for 9 months. Okay, so it's not the cost, it's not the tuition and fees that you're going to be paying at Fullerton, but again, it's a budget that's given to all students. Okay, basically, this is the amount that students can get financial aid up to. So that includes what we reviewed: grants, loans, scholarships, federal work study. Right now, keep in mind that a higher cost of attendance could result from living on and off campus. If your student is a commuter student, that means that their cost of attendance budget will be lower. And again, this is basically what financial aid they can get up to, right? So I'll give you an example. Currently, the cost of attendance for a commuter student is about $22,000, meaning that a student can get financial aid between grants, loans, scholarships, up to $22,000. So initially, you cannot go over that cost of attendance. To get more information on how this is calculated, you can scan the QR code and it'll take you directly to our website explaining in depth what the cost of attendance is. So there's websites that are trusted. There's many websites out there, but these are for sure trusted that comes from the Department of Ed and the California Student Aid Commission. So the first and foremost is studentaid.gov. This is where you'll be completing your FAFSA application. And this is where you'll be creating your FSA ID. This will give you information of how grants, repayments, when loans work. And then you also have the CSAC's website, California Student Aid Commission's website, which again, these are the California aid that's offered. Again, very trusted. This is more for Cal Grants, the Chafee Grant, and a middle class scholarship. So that's the presentation for today.